Are you finding with the process for your private clients and stuff, is it that initial consultation in person, or is it a lot of FaceTime and that side
So
of it?
depending on where obviously the origin of the inquiries come from, 9 times out of 10 they'll come via me, and I tend to do a sort of an informal just phone call conversation, very much fact finding, very much explaining our services, because some of the big gaps in knowledge that we have here is that people don't understand that we have 2 sides of the business in essence. You've got obviously the interior architecture side, which people don't actually understand, and I'll be completely honest, before I started here I couldn't really differentiate what was the difference between a standard, and I use that term loosely, but a standard architect and an interior architect, which is like we can obviously talk about some later date. So once we've actually clarified the 2 different sides of the business, people then actually go, oh, I actually do need a lot more than I thought, or we have the ability to provide a lot more than they thought. And it's normally the latter, actually, to be honest, which is sometimes a shame, and that's where we've had to adapt some of our communication, is to make sure that we're really explaining what we do to people, but in quite layman's terms.
Are you finding that you're getting people further down the process than would have been ideal?
We get a mixture. I mean, we sometimes get people sort of talking your kind of language, that haven't even exchanged yet. Which sometimes is great, but sometimes we all know in an ideal world everything goes smoothly, but sometimes we engage with them too quickly. But sometimes we've got them then, so actually regardless of what house they go for, we're kind of going to be involved in some way, shape or form. But everything takes a little bit longer than we think, as always. So we always say to people, if we can try and have an initial conversation with you when you're at sort of the latter end, as getting close to exchange as possible, and then if you can get access where appropriate between exchange and completion, then hopefully we can start to really work with you. But what we are finding a lot now, which is really nice when we're working with other estate agents, is that we're getting involved earlier on in actually helping people make a decision on their purchase. So we're getting people coming to us and going, well, we've got this house, we've got that house, which do you actually think is going to be the better one for what our end goal is? And that can be developer, that can be private client, or some people that are not quite sure what they're going to do with the property once they've got it. So actually it's quite nice to be involved from kind of like a trusted partner kind of ideal from the very beginning. But no, in essence they'll come to us, we'll do that initial consultation
in person
and then we'll send them out we match them up with the right designers based on skill sets, time. And our design is designed to a brief. So ultimately, I think I was sort of saying yesterday that you've got some designers that are working on, penthouse, super modern, slick, minimalistic penthouses in London, but they're also working on real practical family homes, in and around Surrey and Berkshire. 2 very different briefs, one designer, but 2 very happy clients. And that sometimes is making sure that people understand that, we don't have a look. We'll do what they want, and we have to understand that it's about practicality and longevity of design, and not just. And my favourite one when I first started was a lady. She's got two I think they're sort of black hair coated retrievers, so real sort of multi dogs. She went, oh, I really want a white sofa. And I went, we can do a white sofa, but I 100% know that in a couple of months' time you're going to come back to us and go, that doesn't work. And it is about understanding the practicality of the design and how people they're going to live in the space. But also advising them and actually giving that opinion, that it's not just saying yes, being an order taker when it's not right for them. 100%. So
sometimes that's very difficult.
Yes,
learning to say no. Is the hardest thing.
That's the most valuable thing I think I can do for my business with clients.
What's the point in having all that knowledge and not passing it on?
If you just say yes, it's not getting the best for them. But since COVID, have you seen any trends in changes of what people are wanting done and adapted to their houses?
Obviously the home office has got to be the big
huge one, wasn't it?
And sometimes more than one home office.
Yes.
His and hers, his
Adapting
and hers
space.
bathrooms,
Yeah,
his and hers dressing rooms,
office.
and his and hers offices
So
as well. And then sometimes the kids have been learning from home as well, so they've all got to have a desk in their room. All sorts of things have changed.
And where are people generally looking to? Most houses, they're not built with 2 studies or 3. Which other bits of the house are they giving up?
You have to find a space,
Finding the
even if
spaces
it's
or manipulating
a 1-bedroom
the spaces,
apartment in London. Maybe a little space in the kitchen, maybe somewhere in the bedroom just tucked in the corner, maybe with the little poof that goes away so that you're not tripping over it every time.
You've got the storage there so you can get rid of stuff, or even stupid things. If you're going to have an island, making sure that the stools you have, it seems like a really small detail, that they're not just beautiful and they're not just there for when you have a quick sort of bite to eat. If you're going to be sat there all day, we've got to make sure that the comfort's there. But it is interesting how people have adapted and sort of changed, and how as the family grows switches and changes, you know, making sure that, you know, bedroom spaces have got the storage. And, you know, we get a lot of people that come to us about children's bedrooms, and that's one that I always love, which is, you know, how do we make sure this it's nice to design. So, but, you know, you might have a 3-year-old and we say to you, okay, it was lovely at 3, at 6, at 9, and then as they become more influenced by friends, you know, we need to have those longevity of designs, but also respect, you know, the stages that they're at. And that's the same with any room and any space, isn't it? Which is, you know, people get nervous about colour, don't they?
And we've got in-house stylists. You could style a room, you could take away the styling pieces, it becomes neutral again, which is why we very much like to go for the neutral pieces and then style it. I mean, this was styled differently a few weeks ago.
Yeah, we like to have a little bit of a change.
And we're changing it again in the next few weeks. So, you know.
And do you see many clients doing that? So they will have soft furnishing items that they will rotate, or
I mean, we do get the odd person who goes, do you know what, if we want to have it's our home. This is the balance, actually, is an interesting question actually, that people say, you know, wallpapers. Not everyone loves a wallpaper. It's a, you know, we've got some that love it, some that don't. Some that people still imagine this sort of big floral sort of all over the wall. And I also say to people, you know, you've got to love your house. Ultimately, we can design everything, but if you don't love it and walk in and go, John, this is my space, it's never gonna work. And it is about that balance with some of our clients, and that's where that sort of very early conversations come, which is, you know, how long do you foresee this being your home? You know, who is the end user? Who's living in that space? You know, where do you see that family being in not just years' time, but 3 or 4, 5 years' time? So with that in mind, you know, are we picking stuff that's, you know, if you like your colour, inject your colour. If that's going to be your home for 5 years or more, enjoy it. But we do get a lot of people that err on the side of caution, don't we?
Do you have lots of people that come over at weekends? How big do you want the dining table to be? All those sorts of questions.
And do you find that people are very mindful of the investment and that potential, not only return but that saleability when doing their family homes?
Do you think they're thinking about resale at that point when they bring us in? I think they want it to be there.
Unless I think
home for life look.
On the interior architecture side, so when we're talking quality finishes, so we're talking the flooring choice, you know, architrave, skirting boards, you know, copper ceilings, all that kind of stuff.
A developer would be very much geared towards.
With some of the private residential, if they're doing a renovation, I think that people do think, you know, how can we add some value but still enjoy this house as a house? And that's what we get a lot, don't we? We want the wow factor, but we also want the practicality. We tend to achieve that by having the formal dining room, by having something that's a little bit more chilled in, you know, in the kitchen area. Now, that's talking big houses. We also respect that not all of our clients have got 10,000 plus square foot homes, and actually for some of the designers that is the challenge. You know, they can fill a room with a large budget and make it beautiful, but how can they make sure that actually still a 1-2 bedroom flat? Or some of our clients come to us for just one room. You know, they start that journey with us, and sometimes that will be the end of the journey. It's one room and one room only, and other times they just keep coming back. But it has changed. And as I said, the other thing that we notice a lot of the time is how people are adapting spaces for, you know, how they're using the garage. And you guys will see this all the time. Are they using space accordingly? Do they need 5 bedrooms? We get that a lot. I remember when I used to show houses and people go, oh, well, you know, we must have the most amazing spare room. And I'd go, well, how often do you have people to say Christmas? And I go, well, put, you know, one of your teenagers in that room then and use that space properly. Still have a lovely spare room, but it doesn't need to be this room that almost is sat with the door closed, or like a formal living room. That's always a fun one.
I'll put them in a hotel.
Yeah, exactly. Save the argument. Or you get the sort of formal living room, and I go, well, how often do you use? Are you a family that sits in a formal living room? I go, no, we've got kids and dogs. So don't have a formal living room then. Let's have something that is great when people come over, but actually you can use. There's no point closing the doors and it's the no-go zone for, you know, it's mad. So and I think that's how people are sort of changing and adapting. And then the outdoor space. That's one that I think's been really interesting, isn't it?
Bringing the outdoors in.
Yeah, and I think we've seen that a lot.
Regardless of today, but
And it's so true. I think that the quality of that internal architecture and space usage, you know, I've seen some phenomenal houses where, dare I say it, the formal drawing room has been the focus, I think, of the build intention.
The whole build,
And that has then detracted and compromised actually the family space that you live in 90% of the time. And I think people are far more mindful of that. I think in terms of entertaining a lot of people, it's less formal.
Yes.
You know, it's not grand dinners. It's
It's more the super room gathered around the kitchen.
Yeah, but and actually that's a great word, the super room. That has become something, or the multi-purpose. Before people have a cinema, we don't hear so many people saying they want a cinema now. They want a multi-purpose room. So it's a snug one day, it's a family room the next, it's whatever. But I think that super room, I love that term.
Which then flows outside into the garden, hopefully, so we can get a little bit of that European feel when we do get the nice
with all the patio heaters on.
But again, I think that we're certainly seeing clients wanting to spend more money on the gardens, not in terms of flowers and beds, etc., but actually furniture, facilities, space. And we're not talking pools or stuff, but outdoor kitchens and that sort
We've seen that a lot. In fact, we're working now with Clyde Christian and we're working with Extreme Design, so kitchen furniture developers who are developing outdoor kitchens, which are phenomenal. We're working with Lush as well, so they're doing a lot of outdoor kitchens. So, we like to partner with these trusted
it's the ones who are the leaders in their market for it.
Sort of dipping in the same pool, and sometimes actually speaking to clients that actually we hadn't yet really, spoken to, or roundabout. It's not always such a linear approach anymore. Can be sort of around about the houses, excuse the pun, as to how we get there. But I always think what's interesting is that sometimes you'll go to a house and it will be all decked up to the nines and beautiful interiors, and actually sometimes prospective buyers, I'm really interested to see what you think, actually struggle with that as well, because you might have a family that's a little bit more scruffy and a little bit more sort of doesn't live sort of show home style. They walk into a space and go, it's beautiful, but you can't imagine ourselves living here. And that's an interesting brief that we get sometimes, which is we want to live in our house and we want it to be nice, but we don't want it to look like a show home. And we don't do show home designs for private clients in that sense of the word. But people sometimes can struggle to see past how they can live in something that's so perfect.
Yes, dare I say, I've had it on a couple of houses, only where when it is a new build home that is a show home, people, they're overall bucks, they're knockout. But I've had it a couple of houses where actually the family wanted to present it in that way, and that's where actually, because people knew it was a family living in there, all they were fixated on is like, do they actually live there?
How do they live there?
You said you've got 3 kids.
Like this?
Whereas I say, don't worry, if you came to my house, it's the complete opposite.
But that's important to make it feel homely and welcoming and achievable. I mean, when we do our show homes, I always say to designers, we're looking for realistic but aspirational.
Yes.
And that's what I say. It's about really understanding your client, and a lot of the time, sometimes just to try to get this holistic view of them as best possible without sounding sort of not too weird. Whereas, some of our clients are very fortunate; they may have more than one home. How do we understand? The London home might be very different to what the sort of country home was. Off the back of COVID, everyone wanted this country pad, didn't
Everybody
they?
moved out.
I don't know if that's sort of settled. I presume it's sort of settled down a little bit now, but
it's set. I mean, that migration has still been very strong. I think Liz Truss in October mitigated that to a degree, but it's a well-worn path in any market that youngsters and young families coming out of London, all of this patch is, it's always been very, very sought after. I guess from our point of view, we've got the two marketplaces where, I'd say sort of Ascot, Sunningdale, Wentworth, and then all of the beautiful villages around Maidenhead, so your Hollyports, Cookham, Bray, all of those bits. Do you see
all the restaurants?
It's the restaurants. Don't
and then obviously with the Elizabeth line as well now, so the commutes become so. And I just think that's really interesting, which is actually people are picking houses now. Of course, they are based on the aesthetics and whatever else, but there will always be that one compromising factor that is too far. And I think that's what was really interesting. Back to sort of my previous sort of days is actually understanding people's lifestyle. It's what is the school catchments important, or where are the bus routes, or if Stoke believe gentleman is part of a golf club and he's not prepared to sort of alleviate from that, or the commute into London, etc. They become such defining factors, don't they? That actually your interiors can be stunning and the price can be phenomenal, but if it doesn't tick some of those boxes, it
can't work. That's a huge part to it. And I guess in terms of the variations of styles and space usage, is there, and I guess my assumption is that if I was looking at those houses in Bray, Hollyport, etc., versus what somebody would want and desire and how they would use a house in Ascot or Sunningdale, is it that distinct, or actually is that the wrong perception? And
Julie might be better to answer because obviously you've been, here longer and you've seen, every style probably there is and every type of client from show home to private, haven't you?
Exactly, and probably Ascot, Sunningdale, sometimes you get clients that aren't there very often.
Yeah.
Whereas moving out towards the Hollyports and the Braes, it's very much more a family home.
Yeah.
And obviously the style of the houses is very different. We also work an awful lot with Ascot Design, who have designed all these mega mansions on Wentworth, in Ascot, and again, a different client altogether. Yeah. So a lot of international clients. Sunningdale's great for commuting into the city. It's great for all the golf clubs, as you know.
Yeah.
As you know. No coincidence that's where you put the business, makes sense.
I think we've been at a few golf events over the years. Again, we can design to any brief.
Yeah.
And, the girls are fantastic at working to any brief, any budget. The clients are probably a little bit different.
Yeah, I think you touched on the international really well there, which is we are dealing with more and more people that are in these homes for
they just come for Ascot.
Yeah, they come for Ascot, or they'll come just for Wimbledon, or they'll come for whatever it may well be, whatever the season, the draw, the draw is actually
for 4 years.
And that's why sometimes quite hard because you're almost trying to get your head around this sort of, totally different lifestyle to what potentially that I live or whatever, which is you're going to spend this much on your house and you're going to be there for a week or two, but that's just the way it is. And we also have a lot of clients now that are doing a lot of stuff in Dubai, a lot of stuff in the States, but very much a lot in Dubai, and that's a whole different
developer clients as well,
different cultures clients that you're working with, and and
I guess how you actually
understanding
live in your home over there.
Yeah, and who you live with as well, really interesting.
Yeah, again, international clients probably aren't here permanently or over in Dubai permanently. They've got multiple homes that they dip in and out.
They need to be fit for purpose for a short period of time. And actually, I guess they need to be able to lock up and leave.
And then, it's the developer market as well, which is obviously a whole nother kettle of fish. And another one that we're seeing more and more is obviously the investor market. We do sort of a more furniture pack style, so something that is ideal for rentals, obviously on a sort of smaller scale, so sort of more sort of London-y flats. But we do get people that come to us and go, we want to furnish it, and we'll be renting, renting it out.
The downsizers.
Yes, the downsizers. We get that. Now that is something, the flat market around here, as you all know, we see a lot. Big houses on Wentworth,
big apartments,
downsizing, and that's a shift that they're going through, that we're almost trying to support as well, and changes of life, changes of chapters. It's all quite buying and selling houses is an emotional thing, regardless.
And quite often they don't want to get rid of their prized possessions.
No.
So we've got to put those into the scheme.
Yes.
So
we've got family heirlooms and massive pieces of furniture alongside something that don't quite fit, but they've got to go there, and the designer always has to sort of turn a blind eye, because no matter how they've tried to manipulate it, it just doesn't. It's not what they would have chosen from the outset. But we respect that, and it is interesting, and it's you are a bit of a handhold through the process, because it's a change,
a tricky process.
And that's the most difficult move, because naturally you're going from something larger and grander down to something as lovely as some of these penthouses and apartments are. They won't have the same features, and I guess that's where the use of space becomes paramount for you guys, for clients.
Yeah, and it is about sort of, we do a lot of beautiful joinery, and that's something that the team works incredibly well on. And there's joinery and there's joinery, as I say all the time. There's wardrobes and there's wardrobes, isn't there? And it's not always about these ridiculous light up, singing, dancing, turn around, wardrobes. It is about really utilising the space, and if people have got children, how can we make their bedroom or playroom not look like a bomb's hit it the whole time, but also be livable. And it is important, and we are sort of there for all the different sort of changes that people are going through, downsizing, upsizing. We might start with a client where they've got one child, and then all of a sudden they're calling us up in 2-3 years time going, we've just had a new one, or a new one pending, we need a nursery. And that's lovely, because actually you do get that kind of journey of that client. You'll have, and you might end up sort of selling a house, and then at some point you're then finding the house for son or daughter, or selling the grandparents' house. It's quite nice to be involved in that.
Yeah, you do, and that's that's the great bit of our business, is working with people and having those relationships. And is it the old adage, you buy quality, you buy once? Is that still very much the case? Because certainly when I'm advising clients, if they're looking to invest money in their property or considering a purchase and investing in it, I'm always saying, spend that appropriate amount. Don't cut corners and sprint back.
No.
Because ultimately,
You'll have to move again.
You have to go again.
Yeah, move less. And we're finding that people are changing
Well, I
their
wouldn't
houses
say that, move
now.
less. Keep moving. But,
Yeah, you keep moving, yeah, essentially. I mean, I always sort of say to people, which is, you know, we don't have a minimum spend, but we have a sort of price per room to get the Alexander James feel that's always open to interpretation, as I said, because of the brief. But, you know, it's being clever with the budget. One of the designers, she said it to me very early on, and it's always stuck with me. She said a mixed Primark with Prada kind of idea.
Primani, we call it.
Yeah, Primani with, yeah, exactly. Which is, if, you know, where you need to spend the money, so don't sort of, you know, skimp around on quality of sofas or beds, because you'll end up sort of regretting it from a comfort perspective. But actually with the styling, we can mix and match, or the children's rooms, be clever, you know, about what you put in there. And, you know, some people, you know, pick the rooms that are most important. If your principal bedroom is super important, well then let's allocate spend accordingly. But no, it isn't always a case of, you know, everything. You can be really clever, and, you know, we do a lot of bespoke pieces, of course we do, but we also have thousands, I never realised this before, it's like thousands of suppliers that we work with that actually, you know, phenomenal pieces of furniture, and the designers will spec accordingly. They're very good at that, and the one thing that I find a lot of the time is they will be open and honest with people and say, you know, this is X price and this is the quality you're getting. Now, I'm not saying you need to spend any more, but just be, you know, wary of that. You know, they really do understand.
Or don't go for a triple treatment on your windows. Just go for a blind. You know, I mean, we've got, as you can see there,
the whole shebang there kind of idea. You don't have to.
It's not always necessary. So, and that's where a designer comes in and saves you money.
Absolutely.
You don't make mistakes. And you do get it on time, on budget.
Well, I guess that's the key. It's on time, it's on budget, but most importantly, it's something that they want and will love.
Exactly.
And that's the whole...
You walk into their house and it's really become their home. It's such a cliche, but, you know, it is. And, you know, it is about the quality in places, but it's also about being clever, isn't it?